Tsepo Matsepe is a director at Kenna Media and joins us now with a view on outdoor advertising, but with a specific focus this time on rural areas. Welcome. Thank you very much for joining us. The point is made by your agency. The brands have been advertising to the rural and peri-urban area consumers through outdoor due to the fact that other platforms are not accessible. So outdoor is a valuable medium. What's the impact, though? How important is advertising in that particular space?
The peri-urban and rural audiences are particularly of interest to your retail markets. Almost every other brand has to have some presence in there. There's a huge disposable income residing in those places, and brands have been advertising there historically only on outdoor. We have brands that have been made on the basis of those platforms, and as those people move closer to the urban areas, they come to the urban areas already knowing what they like, what detergent they want to use.
So the seed has been planted.
The seed has been planted there. And our focus for the kind of work we do with outdoor in the rural areas is more on the regulatory side of it, because a large part of the outdoor billboards in the rural areas has been located on your former Bantustans and your homelands, and as such has never really been regulated. These companies just went and put up billboards and never had to pay landlord fees to the owners of the properties.
So landlords are now taking, or local authorities, should I say, are now taking a much stricter positioning as far as that's concerned. So what would brands, what would outdoor companies need to be aware of in terms of this new regulatory environment?
The new environment is pretty much what you see in the urban areas now. You can't just go and put up a billboard and advertise whatever brand you're advertising.
The trouble is people are still doing that, though.
And that's why we're being roped in to make sure that we do an audit who's there, how long they've been there, and the sort of the market-related rentals they are supposed to pay. And the reason why it's important for brands is because it's very much similar to advertising on a radio station that does not have an ICASA license. You might be facing some legal issues there. But this exercise by the local authorities in those areas is not a name and shame kind of exercise. It's more to regularize and say, we want your business, we want you guys to advertise, we want you to communicate with the audiences here. But however, just as much as you would pay a metro to put your billboards next to a major freeway, even on our gravel road here in the rural areas, pay a little something that's more market-related to the number of eyes we bring to your billboards.
Because there is value in that property.
There is a lot of value in that property, especially seen in the light that this is all over the country.
Are brands getting that? Do they understand that? Or are they pushing back?
Brands, we expect them to get it because it's almost the legal thing to do, not even so much the right thing to do. We have just conducted an audit of almost every billboard in those areas with visuals of who has been advertising and narratives from the local.
So which areas are we talking about?
We're talking every area that is under the curatorship of the House of Traditional Leaders.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's almost probably about 35% of South Africa's populated
How many
surface.
billboards, as a matter of interest? Do you know?
The entire, I conducted the audit, I was supervising the audit, so we're looking at billboards in excess of 1,500 in 8 provinces. The Western Cape is the only province that does not have a traditional area.
And were all of those 1,500 illegally erected?
Not illegally erected. They might have been illegal when they were elected just before 1994 or thereafter. And obviously, with the new dispensation, the land was transferred to the traditional leaders away from the homeland. So there's a more of a successor-entitled relationship that should happen. So they have to be regularized, and not very little rental has been paid. So we are obviously going to engage the brands and the agencies. So if you are an agency for brand X, and when we know that you've been advertising on a billboard in area X.
Now you know because you got it written
down. We got a visual of that. We'll say, you've been here, but we're not trying to get you to pay for what you've been doing. Now
but just pony up in future. So let's look forward thinking then, if we can. Given that there's a tighter control over this mechanism, what should brands be doing in terms of developing a strategy going forward, given that you've said those rural eyeballs are absolutely critical in terms of their own success?
What brands should be doing is making sure that they know what inventory is out there And they should be asking their media suppliers, like if you have a billboard company that you normally book your billboards from, you need to ask them, do you have a valid consent to be here, so that you don't place my brand in jeopardy with the local authorities.
Thank you very much for joining us. We are going to leave it there. Time is against us. Tsepo Matsepe from Kena Media, Director of the company. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jeremy.